Yo, it's Monday. There's still no deep dive from EA, but guess what? You still get the deep dive from Unc. So let's get it. All right, so again, today what we're going to be looking at is some of the Dynasty settings and sliders that, in my opinion, really is going to change the game for Dynasty mode. So, like for my Dynasty League, I'm already sitting here like, all right, bet. So this right here is going to be a game changer. Why is it going to be a game changer? Because there's just so much that you can do to really affect the most important part of, to me, what it was last year, and it looks like for this year too, is going to be how impactful do you want the wear and tear to be, okay? Now, again, I really wasn't a true fan of wear and tear last year, even though in my Dynasty League, I did keep it. But the problem is that if you didn't have platinum, okay, you needed literally platinum workhorse for a power back. That's why a lot of people wanted to get like the 5-star gem power back, because the power back, you could literally legit run the ball 25 times, not have without any issues. I know some people wanted to get the platinum change of direction, but for me, I felt like if you can get a platinum workhorse power back that had 95 plus speed, to me, that felt better than a converted receiver at running back that, or maybe if you was fortunate enough to get an elusive back that was to be able to get change of direction on platinum, which was rare. So most people converted a wide receiver there, but the wear and tear was bad. And sometimes they accumulated to where we all know where, you know, they got beat up in that first game, and then you go to the next week, you thought they recovered and they didn't. And then they started off on yellow, and it was always just those only able to get maybe 10, 15 carries. And we all know as the season, as your dynasty progressed, defensive players would be getting platinum badges galore, to where, you know, one time you got hit and you basically, your quarterback was done, you know, your running back was done. I do not know how impactful that's going to be, so that's why we still have to wait and see. But the sliders are going to really set this thing apart, okay? So let's just look here at this wear and tear. So as you can see at these settings here, it says the wear and tear, you can have it on or off, right? But now, as you see here, normal tackle impact. It says move the slider to the right to increase the amount of wear and tear generated for normal tackles. Then you have the catch tackle impact. Then you have the hit stick impact. Then you have the cut stick impact. Then you have the defender tackle advantage impact. And you have the sack impact. We're going to keep going down, but there's so many different sliders that it is really going to take a lot of simulation to figure out what will be the standard that a lot of people are going to be happy with. I'm not going to sit here and say that EA off rip with their sliders at 50 is not going to be perfect, but I still think from dynasty to dynasty, people, you know, the group of guys and gals are going to, you know, they have a certain type of way they want it to be. To me, I feel like there needs to be a situation to where if a quarterback is, like, you all know what it is, guys, right? There's a difference between being injured and a difference between being hurt, right? So if you're hurt, you can play through it. If you're injured, you sit down, right? That's just kind of been the thing for all athletes. If you know, you know. But I felt like in 25, there was no such thing as, you know, being hurt. Like, you was just injured. Like, everybody was just out there. You was just one hit, you was yellow, then another hit, you were red, and it was done for the whole game. The whole game, there was no recovering. You'll think like, all right, bet, you know, next quarter, it going to reset. Nope, you were just hurt the whole game. So to me, I feel like these sliders right here alone are going to be highly impacted and touched. Like, a lot of people are going to touch these things. Like, I just don't see where there isn't going to be a situation to where people aren't going to touch these. A normal tackle impact, I feel like a lot of people are going to just be dropping that down. Like, if it's a normal tackle, let it go, right? Catch tackle impact, same thing. I can see people dropping that down. Hit stick impact, maybe they keep that at 50. Cut stick impact, getting cut, like a lineman getting cut. Come on, man. Like, I feel like that's probably going to be getting dropped down. But y'all let me know in the comment section as we go through this. How do you feel? Like, where do you think these sliders would be? Remember, I think well, I don't think most companies tend to put when they initially start, it tends to favor, where you're going to see the impact, right? So that's why I always tend to feel like, devs and they, or just, the game itself, a lot, especially coming from the 2K side, if there's a new feature that's put into the game, you best believe they're going to make sure, if they put in time and effort to put the new feature in the game, that they're going to make sure not only that it's worked, but it's impacted and it's felt, right? So wear and tear, this is the second year. You do expect it to be better, but at the end of the day, also expect that it's going to be felt. So that means you're probably going to want to tone it back a little bit, because if you don't have those pure running quarterbacks that have, I'm assuming, a platinum badge to where they're just like a power back, where they do not get affected by the tackles and stuff, it's going to be pretty annoying if you have a dual threat quarterback that doesn't have the badges. I can't remember what the pure running quarterback's called again. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's going to be frustrating if they get tackled a couple times and all of a sudden they can't run no more, right? Which, again, I felt like that was a big aspect of the game. The option and the dual threat, it didn't really pick up until after the last update when they fixed the option pitching, and then they just allowed you to really truly, and I felt like, I know I'm rambling, but I feel like college football, what really separates from NFL is the option, right? Because a lot of that stuff, the dual threat stuff, is basically prominent across the board in college football. So I enjoyed college football even more now. That's why I put in more hours now in it, because of the way of allowing me to be able to run a triple option, to be able to run with a dual threat quarterback. So again, these sliders are going to play an integral part in my humble opinion. So now let's check out, again, as we start to roll down. This is a big one here, all right? As you can see, sack impact, we talked about that. Defender tackle advantage impact. Remember, all this is still from wear and tear. Halftime recovery, week to week recovery, in-game healing reserve pool. See, you see what I'm saying? This stuff right here, I can see people pushing this way over. Like, for instance, remember, there's a difference between being injured and hurt, okay? So let's say, for instance, someone tweaked himself, right? And their wear and tear is down. Do you want them to start off in the second half fully healthy again? Maybe you want to pull this halftime recovery all the way up to 100%. So at halftime, everybody resets over. You now hopefully you're understanding where I'm coming at. You know what I'm saying? You picking up what I'm putting down when I talk about where we could really go crazy with these settings. Because, I don't know. I have to wait until, all the guys from my league, we all kind of like, I'm very, democratic with this, right? I want to, it's a democracy here. Hey guys, what do y'all want? Do you want to be 100% recovered going from halftime going to the third quarter? Because to me, it's just about how impactful the wear and tear is. Week to week recovery. Obviously, if you put it at 100%, then going into next week, all your players will be healthy. Do you want that? Do you want to have that natural progression of dropping down? Some people love sim, but they also want to play, we're like, listen, man, I still want to play the game and have fun. And if you are putting yourself in a situation where it's not realistic, because, let's think about some of the great dual threats. The last great dual threat, Jaden Daniels at LSU, he ran the ball, almost ran for 1,000 yards rushing. And, it's frustrating if you're not able to truly utilize that quarterback. But again, people playing devil's advocate, they're like, well, there's also going to be people that's going to be running ridiculously with him and getting hit sticked and tackled and all that stuff. And, they want that, as a defensive player, they're like, yo, I want that quarterback to not be able to do that week in and week out if he's running recklessly. So there needs to be a type of equilibrium, right? A balance here. But again, this is going to be up to y'all, because, per play recovery, per timeout recovery, if you press timeout, give your guys a break. How much do you want them to come back and be recovered from the wear and tear? To me, I think there should be something there, right? I think if I call timeout and I give my guy 60 seconds, there should be some progression or recovery there, right? Is 50% enough, right? So as we look at this, these are things that you might want to start looking right now with your team, with your dynasty league, and asking your guys and your gals like, yo, let's go ahead and start game planning now. What do we want? Do we want to be able to at halftime come back fully healthy? Or nope, but week to week, starting off the next week, everybody's healthy. You know what I mean? The in-game healing reserve pool. I don't know if that means if you're on the bench. I'm thinking because it says reserve pool. Y'all let me know in the comment section. But that's just stuff like, you put your starter and your starter, and then you put him, you sub him out. And how much recovery he's gonna get while he's subbed out, I'm guessing. I don't know, because I don't see anything about sub recovery or stuff. So I'm thinking that's what it is, the healing reserve pool. Or maybe if they're hurt, if they get an injury and they say how quickly they'll come back. Don't know. If y'all know, let me know in the comment section. That would be great, okay? And then the last thing I want to point out is the transfer portal. This is a really good slider here for max transfers per team. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be huge. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be huge because we do know that it's already been put out there, right? So we all know it's going to be harder to recruit. You're not able to get 10, 15 5-stars anymore. And we all know now the deal breaker for all those blue chips players are going to be playing time. So that transfer portal is going to be extremely active, just like it is in real life, which I love. All right. So again, you're going to have to ask yourself, are you going to be a transfer portal league? Are you yourself going to be a transfer portal team? Almost like how Ole Miss is. Lane Kiffin, he considers himself the transfer portal god. Like he takes pride in being able to say, like, listen, we get all the best talent from transfer portal. I even, like there's coaches that legitly say that we don't even care about recruiting freshmen anymore, because why do I want to train and develop these freshmen just for them going to transfer portal and someone else get them? So a lot of teams now are just saying, like, listen, man, we don't really care about getting these initial recruits. I want to go ahead and get them in the transfer portal. Okay. And again, that's another coaching ability mindset that some of y'all need to start thinking about too. Do you want to be a recruiter, right? And remember last year, everybody was about being a recruiter, right? But maybe you want to be, go a different direction and be a guy or gal that is really big in the transfer portal. Okay. Now you see the next one says user player transfer rate. This is another big one. I think that's probably going to be keep here at 50, because if you are getting 5-stars and 4-stars that are really looking for a lot of playing time, 50 might be the best bet. Or if you feel like people are transferring too much, you might want to drop it down to 45, 40 or whatever. You'll find a sweet spot. And the computer transfer, player transfer chance, this right here is really fun. You could literally put this at 75% and then all the best players. And as a Dynasty League, you get excited because you know that, at the end of the season, a lot of great players are going to be in the transfer portal. So it brings a lot of excitement, almost like the NFL draft. On steroids, because since you have a higher chance of having transfer players in the portal, because there was a Dynasty league within my league. I had multiple leagues, but there was one league where we legit did the little glitch to where I would go in and put all the best players in a transfer portal, right? I would go to every single team, take like the top 5 players and put them in transfer portal and just have fun with it. So again, that is another aspect of this game that's gonna be really fun. But yeah, I just again, this is just some new stuff here that I just really want to put out there. I'm really enjoying all the the quality of life adjustments and the new things that are out here. And again, obviously, hopefully the deep dive will be coming out soon. But if not, hey, I'm here, man. I'm here giving y'all whatever I can, man. So hopefully you appreciate this. If you are, just make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and as usual, your favorite old head, Uncle Demi. I'll be back really, really soon with the banger, man. When I say back soon with the banger, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about tomorrow, man. I'm out.